So today I want to take a look at this trailer for Broken Arrow. This is a new game which is being made by a team of Wargame players from Russia called Steel Balalaika, and also one of the old Eugen designers, FLX or Felix. Now they've been working on this for about 3 years as a passion project in their spare time, and now they've picked up Slitherine as a publisher, hence the new trailer. So let's take a look at it, and then we'll talk a little bit about it and what else I've dug out about the game in the background. Okay, so let's go back to the beginning and watch that again, and this time we'll talk about it as we're seeing what we're seeing. We've got some Blackhawks by the looks of it, Ospreys, a Wasp assault carrier. We've got loads of paratroopers, very detailed paratroopers. In fact, everything looks really detailed. Look at those choppers. They're very impressive. F-35s. Lots of Ospreys. Nice big transport planes. I assume that's what the paratroopers are in. Very nice grass on the ground there as well. Now this is all in-engine footage. Look at that. That is so many paratroopers of that high quality. And para-dropping tanks and vehicles as well. Okay, so this looks like the Russian forces. Lots of attack choppers. Some nice tanks. And there's one of our F-35s. That's going for beach assault. You can see all those troops landing. I'm seeing some hovercrafts in there and a lot of cruise missiles. Being fired from various destroyers, I assume. So these are the American forces assaulting the beach. And now we're swinging around to the Russian forces defending. I mean, we're talking about a lot of infantry, a lot of units on the ground here. And a lovely tactical nuke at the end. Now that we've seen the video, let's have a little think about what we saw and what else the devs have planned. We would normally call this a real-time strategy game. What they're wanting to call it is a real-time tactical game. It's finding the sweet spot between action and simulation. That's what they're trying to do. And they're trying to do it with a modern era rather than World War I, World War II, etc., etc. And they're obviously bypassing the Cold War, which Eugen have already done with the Wargame series. So they're wanting very large-scale battles. Their maps are more than 100 kilometers square. They want a very precise level of detail, not just in terms of how the units look, but how they act, how they fire. They want a very high level of customization. As you can see on the screen now, this is what they're wanting to go for, so that you'll be able to choose the loadout of a chopper, choose the loadout of your planes, choose the loadout of your tanks in terms of what weapon systems it has on it. They're wanting to have tactical nukes in here, amphibious assault craft, paratroopers, paradropping vehicles, you know, and all of this is in this modern setting, as I say, which isn't often used in games. I think it's a hard one to get right, especially with all the modern weapon systems that you don't necessarily need to be on the map for, like cruise missiles, like drones. So it'll be interesting to see how they handle all of that. Now, the game itself is still in an early phase. There's a lot to do. Bear in mind that for 3 years, pretty much, they've been working on this in their spare time, on evenings, weekends. It's been a passion project, which is a good thing. It's people who really enjoy Wargame and that type of game that are getting stuck into designing this. And now they reckon it's going to be at least 1 year development time before they're at a stage they would want to release. And that's now working on it full time. So obviously things will go a lot faster. It will have a single player and co-op, and they're putting equal amounts of effort into that. They're not saying a lot about the multiplayer side of it yet, but it will obviously have a multiplayer, just as Wargame did. I imagine we'll be seeing very similar game modes to what Wargame Red Dragon has, maybe with some twists. At the moment, the sides are going to be the US and the Russians. However, their intention will be to add more further down the line, probably as DLC. So what we're seeing at the moment is in-engine footage, but not gameplay. But that footage looks amazing. The detail of the units is fantastic, especially the infantry. The only thing that would worry me is how it's going to run on people's machines at that high level of detail, because it does look really good. Now, other than what the devs have been saying, which is obviously not a huge amount since they're now under a publishing deal, we can go and have a look on their Twitter, for example. And if we go back, we can see they've been posting since October 2019 about the game on the Twitter. There's various shots of vehicles on there, and obviously the variation of weapons that they would want to put on them. Then there's some other shots of maps and things like that. And then we have this little GIF, which I've got on the screen now. And this looks to be gameplay from a very early alpha footage, and it looks to be some tanks firing at each other. We're not seeing a lot there, there's not a lot of detail to it, but it's interesting to see that they were doing some in-game stuff back in this time last year. Then we can scroll up, obviously they've got some more shots of vehicles and things like that. But if we go up to December 2020, they had actually posted a first demonstration of gameplay. Unfortunately, that video is no longer accessible. I'm not sure if that's just been removed because of the publishing deal, or if there were some other issues with it. But there was obviously at some point some footage available. Then we have this very, very nicely designed and detailed paratrooper. And then if I scroll up a few more posts, we have this image, and this one stuck out to me because it's something that people have mentioned they felt was missing from Wargame, which is troops rappelling down from a helicopter on zip lines. So that's really nice to see. If they're going to include that in the game, that'll be great for getting into buildings and things, assuming there are buildings on the maps. But what's nice is more recently, in January this year, they posted some shots of one of the amphibious assault ships, which is one of the hovercraft. It's called a Zubar class LCAC, which can either carry 3 main battle tanks or 10 armoured vehicles with 140 troops. That is a lot of infantry on one vehicle. Can you imagine how many of these you might have in a game and the kind of numbers they're talking about in these battles? And then finally we have the most recent stuff from March, which is before this video was released. And here we can see those F-35s taking off from one of the Wasp assault ships, and just some other shots of troops going in Ospreys, and obviously in one of these amphibious hovercraft. Now obviously at the moment there's not a lot else to say about the game. We're just getting sort of images of models and obviously this in-engine footage. But I'm really looking forward to see where they take this, because obviously Wargame 4, so to speak, is probably a long way off, because Eugen have been focusing on Steel Division 2. But this game could be that next fix that we're looking for. Now I don't know much about Slitherine as a publisher, but I can see they're picking up a lot of real-time strategy games recently, and they're trying to expand their portfolio. I've reached out to them to chat to them about this video, and obviously I've asked them about getting on their press list and things, and they've been very receptive to that. So thank you very much to them. Hopefully when they release more information about this game and potentially some of their other titles, I'll be on the list of people to get that information so I can pass it on to you guys pretty quickly. Now, I expect some of you Wargame players were aware of this, to be honest, before I was. Certainly Grigory was. What are your views on this? What do you think of it? Have you seen that footage that's no longer available? What did it look like? I'd love to know. Please tell me down in the comments. And if you have any other thoughts about where this game's going to go and what you like or dislike about this video, let me know down below. I'd be really interested. As always, please do like, share and subscribe to stay up to date on this game and other titles. Thanks again for watching and have a great week.